Welcome to Toffee TV. Now, listen, Richarlison's gone. He's old news. Time to forget about him. Every time he posts something on Twitter from now on, and there's a reference to Tottenham, don't get angry. That's who he plays for.
I haven't followed him. He's gone.
Well, there you go.
Done.
Get on him. Although Twitter does make it hard for you to leave things behind. You may like this because you like that. I don't, mate. I might have like that one thing.
Yeah. Blocked.
There you go. Anyway. So it's time to move on. It's time to talk about who can replace Richarlison at Everton. There's a place out there, Baz.
There is. I mean, in terms of that, obviously he's gone. He was quite unique, I would say, in terms of someone who plays off the front but worked incredibly hard and would run up and down, getting back and making tackles and stuff. In fact, we've seen him get injured a couple of times doing that very thing. But do you think Everton are better trying to get someone that does exactly what he did, or do you think they'd be better looking for someone with a different skill set? Just because we don't even know how Frank Lampard wants to play. We've got all of a sudden 94 centre backs, which would suggest maybe they're going to go to 3 at the back.
Yeah.
So
it's a hard one, isn't it? If there are players available out there that have that same kind of work rate and can score goals and the odd assist, then yeah, get them. But clearly they're going to be in the minority, and that's maybe what makes Richarlison a little bit special, and that's what Spurs have obviously looked for. So if you can get that kind of play, then fair enough. The modern player has been brought up, I think, to press and to get in the opposition's faces. You know, this is not a new thing. This has been going on for the last 10 or so years since sort of Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team. You know, it was a fundamental part of the way they played. So it's not a new thing. So you'd like to think the players as they come through now, that is a big part of the game. And if there are players out there, then yeah, not everybody has that skill set, but other people have different skill sets. And I think the first and foremost thing is you have to replace the goals. For me, anyway, that has to be the first thing. And then have players in your team that can maybe do the other side of the things he was good at. And get that balance over the team. But for me, the goals have to be the big thing first. So, yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see who we look at.
yeah, obviously with getting the money in for the Richarlison, we can hopefully now start to get our targets lined up. Tarkovsky's in the door, and we move on to forward area. Still desperate for a midfielder as well. But let's have a look anyway. The first player that we could go after, and it is Emmanuel Dennis, been linked heavily with him over the last few weeks. He played 33 times for Watford last season in the Premier League, 10 goals, 6 assists, shots per game, he was averaging 1.8, and tackles 1.5. You know, that's something that Richarlison was very, very good at, working hard and tackling. So off the face of it, Emmanuel Dennis looks like a decent replacement for Richie.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say to you, when you look at his numbers, he does seem to be the perfect fit in terms of players that are available straight away. Premier League standard, age-wise, he does look like a real fit. And I suppose the question would be is then why, for someone like him, why have more teams not looking in his general direction? He's gone down, obviously, with Watford, so his numbers look good. What makes it a little bit less attractive?
Well, last season was a bit of an outlier in terms of the goals he scored. He's never got that many goals before, and that might be something that teams are alerted to. They might be looking and thinking, well, you know, is he going to produce that again? Can he produce that again? He obviously came into Watford last season. He was an unknown quantity for the Premier League. But I've had a good season, 16 goal involvements, one more than the Richarlison. Same amount of goals, obviously, as Richie as well. So I think Watford are looking at around £20 million for him. But he is, like you just said, he's a good age, 24. Really good age. Does work hard. Got a couple of headers as well last season. So decent in the air as well. So I think he's one that Everton will be looking at very interestedly, obviously. You know, they've watched Ismail Sarr last season as well, so they will have seen Dennis at close quarters. He did, of course, score at Goodison as well, and he spanked us. So he's someone who's definitely on the radar. Like I say, the only thing that might make them I wouldn't say dubious, but might make them think, you know, is he the real deal? Can he do it again? Was last season an outlier in terms of he won't get that many goals again, where we knew it Richarlison. He got, you know, double figures every season at Everton, but he had only scored 5 at Watford when we bought him. So it's one of them. But he's definitely one I think that will be in the conversation without a shadow.
Well, moving on, of course, another player we've been linked with, and he's also part of a relegated team, is Cornet from Burnley. Let's have a look at his numbers.
There he is, 26 games played, 9 goals, 1 assist. This is in the Premier League. Average 1.8 shots per game, and tackles 0.6. So obviously worse than Richarlison and obviously Emmanuel Dennis as well. But this is a fella Everton had looked at a few seasons ago when he was at Lyon. Played left wing back, but also can play off either flank. Burnley got him in, and he come in and he done really well for them.
Yeah.
You know, nice left foot. Attitude a little bit at times, I think. Obviously wasn't aware he'd signed a permanent deal.
No.
That's an issue.
Not really sure what Burnley's badges are there.
No,
clearly.
No, likes the Umbro badge. But he is a good player, and again an interesting one. How much you'd get him for? Yeah. I think if you're Burnley, you probably just want him out the squad. But then they've just got Vincent Kompany, and he might be able to appeal to.
It's not a worry as such. I do think he's a good player. I actually think Burnley might have stayed up if it wasn't for his miss.
He missed the
penalty at West Ham, and I also remember a sitter at Norwich. He had, and there was a couple more as well. Don't get me wrong, he scored some important goals. It's just like they're like the indelible moments, and because of course we experienced them. Massively. So they are imprinted on my mind. There's lots of times when you're thinking, imagine if he'd scored at West Ham to make it 2-0.
2-0.
And obviously the game finished 1-1. You know, imagine, you know, he put that equaliser. I think it would be an equaliser at Norwich. You know, these just moments that are printed on my memory that come from him. And of course, listen, he scored against us, didn't he? So it's, you know, he did score important goals. But I just keep thinking about him. But I mean, of course, I think he's got what's his buyout, something like 16, 17 million, like that. Again, would Burnley really want to do business with us after everything that's gone on? Yeah. I imagine they will be looking, or of course it's difficult. They'll will want to come straight back up, and having someone like Vincent Kompany being in charge is Cornet will probably look at it thinking, well, we've got a serious manager in, or someone who knows the Premier League, who's not long left the Premier League as a player. We want to get back straight away, and we've already lost a few players, so we'll want to keep a few. So he's definitely in there, and he's definitely a good player. But then there are, again, like Dennis, there are question marks because he was involved in a relegation.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not necessarily always his fault, but you know, the fella who got 30 odd goals in 180 games for Lyon, again, albeit played wing back and stuff. So the 9 goals he got, a little bit of an outlier, but he's got the talent with that left foot. But that is the thing. If you look into the place with Richarlison, who was getting consistently double figures for the team. You know, Emmanuel Dennis last season was the most goals he ever scored in a league season. So that's what I'm talking about. The outlier, I think the others was 6 and 7 seasons. So, you know, Cornet is exactly the same. So he's another one. Good age, like he's only 25 at the moment, but I'm not convinced.
Yeah. Shall we move on to our next one?
The next one is someone Everton have been heavily linked with. Leeds are linked with him as well. It is Feyenoord winger Luis Sinisterra. 30 games played last season in the Eredivisie. 12 goals and 7 assists. Averages 2.6 shots per game, and his tackles are 1.3 per game. Good winger, loads of pace. Seen him on the Feyenoord documentary. If anyone's watched that one. 23 years of age, very quick. I think he played 49 games last season. I think got 19 goals in all competitions for Feyenoord, so knows where the net is. He's interesting, you know, 20 million, I think the quote of that. which, and again, great age, South American, hard work. You know, we thought we were getting Luis Diaz, a year, or hoped we were getting him a year ago. But Leeds are very interested in taking him to Ellen Road, so Everton would have the competition for him. But he's a left winger, more than a striker. But you know, with them numbers you've seen, it works really hard. And obviously, he had a good link up on the left with Cyril Malacia, who was going to Manchester United from Feyenoord as well. So, but he is a good player, and you know, I just wonder if Everton would be looking for an out-and-out winger or someone who can do a couple of jobs. But he's a good player and someone who a little bit different, thinking outside the box a little bit.
Again, you have to ask the question of how Everton are going to play this season. You know, if they played more of a 4-3-3 at times, then of course he could play on either side and being valuable, and you maybe get a little bit more out of that player again. Players who come from the Dutch league, we've had this conversation loads of times. You can never quite tell. Some of them are brilliant, but some of them are very much hit and miss. So, as you mentioned, Leeds are heavily linked with them, and obviously that deal will be if Raphinha, or even when Raphinha makes the move to wherever he's going, whether it be Chelsea or Barcelona, we'll have to wait and see. So. Another one on the list there.
Good player though, good age as well. He was 23 a couple of weeks ago, so great age. But Leeds may well have started that, but you know, it's one of them. The next player we're going to look at is someone who I've wanted for a few years. Everton have scouted him extensively. It is Moussa Diaby at Leverkusen, who's had a great season last season. 32 games in Bundesliga, 13 goals, 12 assists. Averages 1.7 shots per game, but tackles are 0.6. But this is a player who is a flyer, a play off the left or the right. You know, can cause loads of issues, loads of problems. I think it's someone Everton I think should have got maybe a year ago. I know Newcastle have been really heavily linked with them in the last few weeks, and they have got the money to deal. Maybe Everton haven't quite got the money anymore to do what they wanted to do with this player, but he'd be a brilliant addition. And again, another player who was on the way up.
Yeah,
you know, someone who you could get in, develop, and then you could potentially sell on again there to make some money and you know, really play into the sell on FC tag. But he's someone I think Everton he'd do really well at Everton.
Yeah, he's obviously probably someone from the Premier League will take him, and whether he considers Everton the right move at this stage of his career. Again, it's that thing of like, you know, does he jump straight into a Champions League team, or does he go the one run down? Or are we even that run down? I suppose it's, would we get involved and could we convince him, and do we have the money? Which is the other side of it, isn't it? But why not? We're aiming big, aren't we? We're aiming big. We're aiming to bring these kind of players in. So
we've got to, haven't we? We've got to change what we've done in the past. And the problem with him is, but similar theme with the other players we've said, is that, again, last season was his best season. You know, he's
But isn't that a good thing, though?
No, it
isn't
is.
That like, isn't that you're looking for a player who's come off a good season and saying, well, they're on the way up?
Yeah. I was just going to say that, but the age, no, these are 24 and under, these players. So potentially, it's like it could be the thing we've seen with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, other than injury. Last season, every season he's beaten the season before. So that could be a good thing, There's not loads who are around at 20 who have consistently scored. And if they are, they're playing for Manchester City, like Haaland or something. And then the final one, obviously someone Everton have been very interested in for a good few months now. The links have been bouncing around. I've liked the look of him all season at Southampton, and that is Armando Broja. His numbers aren't amazing by any stretch. We can see 32 games for Southampton, 6 goals, no assists, 1.4 shots a game, tackles 0.4, but he is the youngest of all of them. He's not 21 till September. That was his first, he was at Chelsea. He made his debut, Frank Lampard gave him his debut against Everton when Lampard was the Chelsea manager. But he's a work in progress, there's no question about that with him. He's got rough edges, but he's powerful. I think he's one, I think, if you if you get him right, could be absolutely fantastic. The only issue, I guess, with him is if you play him off the left, his head is down a little bit. He's more of a normal, central striker. If Everton played 3-5-2, he's someone who would be really good buzzing around Dominic Calvert-Lewin because he does like to travel with the ball. You'd have to have, if Everton were playing, say, a 4-3-3, I think you'd have to have someone in midfield who could cover the ground that he's not going to quite do the way that Richarlison did. But it's the positive stuff going the other way. I think that you get enough Broja.
Do you think he could be one where it's him and one of the other names on there, and he could be, say, if we bought him, and eventually replace Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
Yeah, if you wanted to play him more fluid front three, absolutely, because he is someone who you can play down the corner. He does go like that, and he's got a trick. He can run past people. Certain things Dom really isn't. He strikes me more as if Everton did go down the 3-5-2 route, then, I mean, that would then put question marks over like Anthony Gordon and Damari Gray, I guess. But it's the squad, and you've got to give yourself that opportunity to play different ways. But I personally believe this kid's got a big future. I think he looks like can he add the goals now? You know, he was on loan at Vitas, what a surprise for Chelsea, and he got 1 in 3 over there as a young kid, and now he's come in and had a season in the Premier League. Chelsea may not want to sell him. It may be a case of loan him. Yeah. You know, give him another year to develop. And
which could be a good option for Everton.
Well, I was going to say, just right now, given the way stuff is, maybe that's a good way to go, and then you can use him in both positions. And then if it gets to a stage where you get to next summer and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's attracting big money, and Everton could maybe get him, then that might be a way to trade him and out, you know what I mean, with the money. But I think he'd be a really good addition for Everton. And again, another one who's a young player who's under 24, and it shows you that there are players out there. There's a lot more than what I've mentioned here, but these are just some of the options that I think are open to Everton, and I believe Everton can get. Maybe Diaby, maybe it's just that ship sailed, but the other three I think are well within Everton's grasp.
There you go. Let us know your thoughts. Who would you, out of the list, like at Everton, and who's not on the list? Who would you like to see on the list? And maybe if we compile enough names, we'll do another video. Who will replace Richarlison Part 2? So let us know your thoughts in the comments on this one. Give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you want more great videos, become a Toffee TV Premier member. The link is in the description, and the QR code will be on the screen right now.